My name is Liselore Frowijn. I'm a Dutch fashion designer based in Amsterdam, and I graduated 2.5 years ago at ArtEZ. That's an art academy in the Netherlands in the East, on my bachelor fashion design. Yeah, this was really a great time because you're surrounded by friends working in school every day from 9 until 11 in the end. And the first 3 months were amazing because you start with this introduction week and you really are taken in the school with all the other artists and disciplines like graphic and product and fine art. And then after a few months you start to realize like, oh, Arnhem isn't the most exciting city to study because it's only the art academy, but then you realize it's really a special mix of people there in this bubble of art school. So I had an amazing 4 years. It was really great. And sometimes it was tough because you learn so many things. In the end, it's really sad to leave actually, because after 4 years you're so connected to these people and they're still my best friends, like family. At school you can just focus on this image that you have in mind and to make it more and more realistic every day. I really woke up at the right moment because I decided I wanted to have this collection to be mine and really to be proud of what I did when I would graduate. And for me at this moment it was the concept of Matisse. I focused more on his work and I found out about his cutouts and the collage. And this way I started to make my own graphics. By cutting and pasting with paper I created these cutout suits. And at the same time I would develop many fabrics myself. I was just very free to paint on them, to make embroideries with silk, transparency, dyeing fabrics, all in my room. It was a mess, but for a week I was locked up there and it was really great. And then I started to work as if I was a painter to make every look by a collage, just to put layer on top. So it was a very personal decision to stick to the things that I appreciated the most. Based upon a quote I found in an exhibition in the Stedelijk Museum. It was in the basement. Seth Sigolaub, he was a collector, I believe, of art and like a mecenas for many great artists. And he also did a lot of graphic, and there was a newspaper with guys dancing the can-can, and it was a kind of feminist image somehow because they were gay guys dancing. There was a kind of strong quote connected to this image, which was "Let's hear it for the lions," and I found it very strong, as if I'm making a shout out to feminine artists in these collections. The collection is based on the sculptures of Niki de Saint-Phalle because it was a very strong artist, and I really believe that this era we're living in is an era for women of my time. They are developing in politics and movies, and why not in art? I wanted to make an homage to them actually, and I took Niki de Saint-Phalle as an icon somehow, and I learned a lot about her life, and I saw many documentaries and examined her work, and the great sculptures are so optimistic and so full of colors and energy that I started to get inspired, and in the back of my mind I had her images, making my own textiles and developing my own prints, and this is how the collection somehow arose, with her in my mind. I was referring to the bold and naive way that Niki de Saint-Phalle uses in her sculptures. So I started to make textiles in the sense the same way, by drawing with pastels and cutting and pasting with paper, make collages on a bit of a naive way, just primary colors. But on the other hand, I wanted to have this cut-out approach also on a more complex way, and that's why I visited a social workspace in Amsterdam. It's behind this studio, it's Create, and there they have a laser cut machine, And the things you cannot do by fabric by hand, to cut very small pieces, they can do it with their laser cut machine. It's really great. I used a very almost old-fashioned print, like the Baroque flower, and that's a nice contrast again within the textile itself. And also there are many polka dots in the collection because, as Nikki de Saint-Val referred to round volumes as the perfect symbolism for women, I used a lot of literally round polka dots everywhere. I wanted to let this come back in every different aspect within the collection. It's a question I'm struggling with now, actually, at the moment, a lot more than when I graduated, because then you're lifted up by the industry. So first you're very honored, like with all the gratitude that you have. And now I realize that to be a competitor of the big fashion houses, it doesn't make much sense, because there is a speed and you're pushing collection after collection without keeping the value of it, like it's rushing by all the time. So this is something I'm questioning myself, like how can I let this evolve in the future, and what else is there that we can do? It's a very interesting time, because if we're really changing this, then everything is possible. I think after graduating, I got all these offers and things happening, and I applied to competitions actually as well myself. People around you have expectations, but I start to feel more and more to listen to what I want somehow, and that's an interesting part of my life, I guess. After all these experiences, also in different countries, every experience is a new lesson, and some have been better than others, and that's really nice, because I'm growing also with each collection I'm doing, and you see what's working and what's not. To me, Paris has been really great, but I also did showrooms in London and Milan, and so far I would like to stick to Paris, because it's a good place, because everyone is visiting there, but still you're part of this old system, and it's interesting to think about what you can change in the classic world of fashion nowadays. The strongest advice that I always get from the best teachers I had is to really join forces with your fellow students, and not only in fashion, but as you said, it can also be photography or architecture, product. Like, find people that you feel connected with, because together you can always achieve more than only by yourself. You cannot do everything by yourself, and I find it really great to collaborate, and that's what I would never want to miss.